the liar knows what lie he told. You see what I'm saying? So even if I made it deceitful and I made you think that the answer is over here, but the answer is really over here, I'm still going to be looking over here. Me, the one that tricked, because I know this is the right answer. Black people have lost their identity, but our oppressors have not lost our identity. But our oppressors have not lost our identity. Our oppressors have not lost our identity.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH, and double honors to the elders and apostles who rule well and teach well. In this video, I want to go into, it's going to be called, They Know Who You Are. Okay? They know who you are, and they have the records. All right? And specifically they, as in the other nations that are not of Israel, you know, not of the Israelites, the real Israelites, okay? The other nations, they have records, they have your history, you know, they have plenty of counts. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through scripture, and I'm going to show you different accounts in which, you know, the other nations, the heathens, they knew who you were. They had the accounts, they had records, and it's no different from today. You know, today is the same thing. It's the same way. You know, they also, since even during the time of slavery, you know, during the time of the transatlantic slave period, they knew exactly who you were then. All right, so first verse we're going to get is Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. All right. I'm going to read it in the NLT just to get to the point. It says, history merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. All right. So this conspiracy against the true Israelites, you know, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, so-called, right, and other scattered, you know, they have been conspired against, and to cut off them from being a heritage, to cut off our history, to cut off our culture, to give us a new culture, you know, to supplant new false history and you know, just deceit, you know, lies, all sorts of those things. So the first account is going to be in Ezra that I'm going to bring up is in Ezra 4, chapter 4, really this whole scriptures. But what I'm going to try to do is just give us a synopsis, you know, an abridged version. I'm going to read some verses, and I'm going to break it down. All right, so in this book, in this chapter, what's going on basically is, you know, you got Zerubbabel, you got Ezra, you got Nehemiah. Like, this is during the time of the Medo-Persian captivity. I believe specifically the Persian captivity, right? In which the Israelites were trying to build the temple. Okay, they were trying to build a temple due to the decree of Cyrus, King Cyrus. Okay, you know, through the Spirit, the Most High Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI allowed the King Cyrus, right, to allow the Israelites to build their temple. All right. So while they're trying to build the temple, you got the people, you know, that's surrounding, you know, that's watching them build the temple while Israel is a vassal state, you know, still under the rule of the Persians, right? You know, you had people trying to stop the process pretty much to build a temple, because they know that when a temple is built, then we have our strength, we have our power, You know what I'm saying? Which is with the Most High, Yahawah. Okay? And once we had the temple built, then guess what? Everything, and we get in order, then guess what? We have the other nations in subjection under the rule of Yahawah Bashim Yahushua. Okay? And these people, they knew that. All right? And it's no different from today. All right, so I'm gonna start at let's see. Let's just start at 1. I'm gonna just run through it as quick as possible. I gave you a good synopsis, so we won't have to keep stopping and breaking it down. All right, so it says, now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Lord God of Israel, right? The adversaries being the other nations, specifically during that time, I believe the Persians. Okay. It says, then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers and said unto them, let us build with you, for we seek your God as ye do, and we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Esarhaddon, king of Ashur, which brought us up hither. All right, so during the time of the Assyrian captivity empire, you know, they had to learn the ways of the land in order for them not to be, judged severely. All right, so there is history of like some of the people, of the kingdom of Assyria learning the ways, of sacrificing to the Most High. Okay. So it says, but Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our God, but we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, hath commanded us. All right, so just like back then, today, the same way, there's nothing new under the sun. The spiritual temple is being built at this moment, right now, as we speak. And, you have agent provocateurs and you have councils against the children of Israel today, trying to frustrate the purpose of building the spiritual temple, trying to do sedition and amongst the brethren, and basically just send out false doctrines and just come up against the Israelites from trying to stop them from waking people up, saying, to their true heritage. All right, so verse 4 says, then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building and hired counselors against them. So these are agents, all right? These are agent provocateurs. These are people they send as spies. Even today, they send them amongst the brotherhood of the Israelites to trouble them in the building and edifying is the same thing. So even when we're edifying the people, like such as when I make these videos, I'm do it in purpose to edify. But then you have, bots or just people all over the internet, or whether it be on internet or in real life, that come and mock and scoff and just basically try to distract them from helping edify and build the nation up, right? So they weaken the hands of the people. They weaken the hands of the people of Judah and trouble them in building, and hire counselors against them to frustrate the purpose all the days of Cyrus king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius king of Persia. So they did this for a long time, right? They was very adamant, very consistent, and trying to keep the temple being built. Okay. Same as today. They spend millions of dollars, to keep us in slumber, the Israelites, the true Israelites, in slumber to who they really are. So we won't be able to build the nation. It says, and in the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, wrote they unto him an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. So there are some people, they write petitions to get certain laws passed and, try to pass basically unrighteous decrees in order to get them to stop building. They go through the policies and laws and rules and regulations based on the kingdom that is ruling at that time to stop them from building. All right, so and it says, yeah, so these are accusers. An accuser, that's also devilish, I believe. I think if I'm not mistaken, Satan means adversary, right? And devil, I believe, is accuser. All right. Let me search that up real quick. Yes. So yeah, devil. So these are devils, right? Because they wrote unto the king as Ahasuerus an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem, and they're just doing something. They're doing something trying to benefit them in righteousness. And you have these devils, they come along and accuse, right, and oppose to the purpose of the worship of the Most High Yahawah, BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Okay, so they slander, and you about to find out that they also do slandering, which is one of the usages of the word devil is slanderer. All right. So it says, and in the days of Artaxerxes wrote Bishlam, Mithradeth, Tabil, and the rest of their companions until at Artaxerxes, king of Persia. And the writing of the letter was written in the Syrian tongue and interpreted in the Syrian tongue. All right, so they wrote these letters. You got specifically these three people and three main people, right, and the other people, other enemies. And let's see. All right, going down to verse 8, it says, Rahum the chancellor and Shimshai the scribe wrote a letter against Jerusalem to Artaxerxes the king in this sort. Then wrote Rahum the chancellor and Shimshai the scribe and the rest of their companions, the Denaites, the Aphersethites, the Tarpelites, and the Aphersites, and the Archivites, the Babylonians, and the Susankites, the Dehavites, and the Elamites. Okay, all of those ites, and the rest of the nations whom the great and noble Asnapar brought over and set in the cities of Samaria, and the rest that are on this side the river, and at such a time. So basically, they wrote these letters to all these people in the surrounding territory. Right, they have a copy sent, all over. It says, this is the copy of the letter that they sent unto him, even unto Artaxerxes the king, your servants, the men on this side of the river, and at such a time. It says, this is a part of the letter. It says, be it known unto the king that the Jews which came up from thee to us are come unto Jerusalem, building the rebellious and the bad city, and have set up the walls thereof and joined the foundations. Okay, so as you can see, they're slandering, right? They're throwing salt in the game, trying to win over the king so he can be more adamant on trying to stop this purpose. All right, it says, be it known unto the king that if this city be builded, the wall set up again, then will they not pay toll, tribute, and custom, and so thou shalt endamage the revenue of the kings. So basically they saying that if you let them, continuously build up their walls and their city and the temple, they're not going to be subject to us anymore. They're not going to pay taxes. They're not going to basically continue helping build your enterprise, and it won't be a benefit for you, king. It says, now because we have maintenance from the king's palace, and it was not meet for us to see the king's dishonor, they buttering them up. It says, therefore have we sent and certified the king, right, that search may be made in the book of the records of your fathers. Right? So they got records. All right. So he's telling them to search the book of the records of your fathers. So shalt thou find in the book of the records, and know that this city is a rebellious city and hurtful unto kings and provinces, and that they have moved sedition with the same of old time, for which cause was this city destroyed. Right? So they know before the Israelites were in captivity, they had all of these other nations in subjection, right? And of course, if they were once in subjection, they're going to try their best to try to stay away from being destroyed and basically being subdued under the Israelites to follow their law. Because once a kingdom is set in place and established, the people, the inhabitants around in the surrounding territories, including Israel, they have to follow their laws, their rules, right? Look, in the NLT says, we suggest that a search be made in your ancestors' records where you will discover what a rebellious city this has been in the past. In fact, it was destroyed because of its long and troublesome history of revolt against the kings and countries who controlled it, right? Because, they were performing iniquity anyway. And so the purpose of the Israelites coming in, and establishing their laws, statutes, and commandments and kingdom is to perform righteousness, is to do it in righteousness. All right. It says, we certify the king that if this city be builded again and the walls thereof set up, by this means thou shalt have no portion on this side of the river. All right. So they have records, and they have records today. They have accounts of what the Israelites did, and how they ruled over other nations. Okay. So he's saying, if you let them do this, then you're not gonna have anything left to your name. All right. So of course the king, he answered, and he told him, like, hey, basically tell him to stop. Okay. Yeah. He said, I read, I heard, I've seen the records. Matter of fact, let's read in NLT verse 18. It says, the letter you sent has been translated and read to me. I ordered a search of the records and have found that Jerusalem has indeed been a hotbed of insurrection against many kings. In fact, rebellion and revolt are normal there. All right. It says, powerful kings, mighty kings have ruled over Jerusalem, right, in the entire province west of the Euphrates River, receiving tribute, customs, and tolls. All right. So this is what happens when the other nations are in subjection. They have to pay tribute, customs, and tolls. They're ruled over. They don't want to be ruled over them. So they know that the power and their strength comes from their city being built up. All right. Well, specifically, having a temple, and if they follow the laws, statutes, and commandments, right, the way the Most High ordered them to and decreed, then they know that he will be on their side, and they're going to basically try to set forth their rule, their orders. And which is why they said, they're a hotbed of insurrection, because we're against them. They're their adversaries. All right. Now it says, be diligent and don't neglect this matter, for we must not permit the situation to harm the king's interests. Right. So it's not in their best interest to let us to keep building, because they know if we build it up, if we have built the nation, then it's closed curtains for them. Okay. All right. Let's go to Psalms 2. So they rage against the machine. They rage against the true rule, the righteous rule. They don't want to be under subjection, okay, to the Israelites. This is Psalms 2, verse 1. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? All right. And we're going to get to what those vain things are, soon enough. All right. So they're angry. You know, they think about constantly ruling over Israel forever. It says the kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. All right, so once again, I said, you know, the powerful kings in the earth that's in rulership right now, even today, they're constantly taking counsel against the true Israelites, right? And they're constantly plotting against Israelites to keep them from ruling over them. Okay, they want to be able to do what they want to do, and they don't want to be under the counsel of the Lord. Okay, because you know, they have to follow the laws of you know, of the Lord, and that's not in them to do it. They don't want it. They want to basically continue in their folly, in their madness. All right. So this is a vain thing for them to think, you know, to break away those bands asunder, because eventually in time when the kingdom come, you know, they're going to be in subjection, right? The Most High, he's going to have the last laugh, right? So they laugh now, but they're going to cry later. And that's just the fact. All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes. Because right now, you know, you got the Israelites, they're in subjection. You know, we got to pay taxes. We have no sovereignty. You know, a lot of our people, they believe they're in good case. You know, they may have a nice career. You know, they may have all these tokens and things of this life. You know, they worry about the cares of this world. They don't even think about having a rulership mentality. They have a slave mentality, right? And it's because of, you know, constant generation after generation just teaching and drilling into our minds that we are supposed to be in this situation. They have done a number on our people to make them just be willing servants. Okay, this is Ecclesiastes 10:7. I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. All right. Right, so that's the situation we are in right now. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in a low place. Right, we are actually in the lowest point right now. We are in a lowest state as servants, but really we're supposed to be ruling. You know, servants on horses. The horse represent, you know, power, and you know, you always hear the term or the idiom, someone on their high horse, because that it's an exalting of power. Okay, so you got these servants, which are the other nations, and specifically the Edomites. They were made to serve their brother, you know, and be in subjection to Yasharallah, which is Israel. All right, but that's the situation we see right now. And there's a statue right now, I believe, still standing of, I think it's Roosevelt or somebody, some president on top of a horse. And then you have, you know, the tribe of Judah, one of the men from the tribe of Judah, and one of the men from one of the northern tribes, I believe Gad, a Native American so-called, on the other side. And, you know, that perfectly depicts the situation in which is going on of this verse. All right. Because we were made to be above all the other nations, right? We weren't made to be in this situation where we got to come to them for every want and need. All right, this is Deuteronomy 7:6. It says, for thou art an holy people unto Yahawah your power. Yahawah your power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. All right, so we were supposed to be above all people, and spiritually we still are, right? We still are special people. But But right now it's not, of course, we're in captivity still. So, that's going to change eventually, but that's the whole premise of of us being a holy people. We're supposed to be ruling this whole earth. We're supposed to be sovereign. We're supposed to have our own military government. Okay? We have to go to them and follow their laws. We have to get licenses and permits, just to travel this earth. This earth was supposed to be given into the sons of God. Okay, but here we are. We are as servants. All right. This is Psalms chapter 83. All right, starting at verse 2. It says, "For lo, your enemies make a tumult, and they that hated thee have lifted up the head." It says, "They have taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted against your hidden ones." And like I said, this is a conspiracy, right? What's going on is this is a conspiracy against the children of Israel. They've known since the transatlantic slave period. They know even in times before and throughout history, but they have diligently suppressed the truth, away from, the Israelites. They have done a lot of displacement. They've made a lot of theories and, through their pseudoscience and their laws and their decrees, their manifest destiny, their iconoclasm, which they whitewash and paint over pictures, erasing history, just different little crafty schemes, different little conspiracies that they have done against the children of Israel, right? They have taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted against your hidden ones. All right, so they constantly think of ways to keep us in derision, to keep us from the truth and sleep and slumber. But hey, you gotta wake up. All right. Wake up and look around you and understand and notice that, you're being lied to. You have been lied to. All right. Conspire, it just means to breathe like with. So breathe together, because you got con meaning with, spire meaning spirit. So you got all these different nations, coming together and conspiring, thinking of ways to cut us off from being a nation. It says, verse 4, "They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." All right. And when it says that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, in today's time, of course, you got the false ones. And then, of course, you got the real ones. So to make the name be no more of a remembrance, that includes the people, so the people, the true people, they make us to not remember who we truly are. They actually hide certain history, and you can just, if you research enough, you will find little bits and pieces from historians during the 1800s, the 1700s, 1500s that have spoken and written, records about the true Jews. Okay, so the information is out there. It's just been suppressed. Okay, but now, as the awakening is happening, more and more people are starting to understand and realize, as prophecy is being fulfilled, people are waking up. But of course, they still got some people asleep. This is, "For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee." All right, so you got all of these think tanks, right? These Club of Rome's, these economic forums, and all of these councils of foreign relations and so-called fronts and umbrella companies and organizations, that feign themselves as philanthropists and humanitarians. They go about the earth and they hide history and act like they're there to help, but they're there to pillage lands, and they got, history in vaults. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they have some in the vat, right, over there in Italy. I'm sure they have plenty of history, just locked away, tucked away, real nicely away from the public, that only the elite, of these people know what's going on. Now, if you go to other countries, even like the common people, a lot of them know, it's just in Babylon the Great, a lot of them know who the true, Jews are. All right. So it says, these are the nations that have consulted together with one consent. It says the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, right? You got Assyrians. They also join with them. And they allied with the descendants of Lot, which is, Moab and Ammon. All right, so you got all these nations. These nations are here today, and it's the same thing over and over again. Like, these things are happening as we speak in today's time. There's a lot of shadow banning, a lot of blackballing, or just basically filtering out the truth, changing up the search indexes, only showing you things that they want you to see so you cannot find the truth. They'll make certain books like thousands and thousands of dollars because it has truth in it that it will expose their conspiracy. Okay, that will expose the true fact that, who people really are, right? Firstly, it says the tabernacles of Edom. So we know who that is. That's the wicked. All right, so I'm going to go to another account over in Esther, and I'm going to just briefly go over it. It's just basically, you got Haman, right, which is an Edomite. He was trying to get the Jews killed, and he even put up money just so they can be exterminated in so few words. All right, this is no different from today. They spent millions and millions of dollars, on predictive programming, on let's see, what's the word? Suggestive, media. They use media. Basically, they use the media, right? And they use laws and different things of that nature in order to suppress the truth, right? To keep the Israelites dumbed down and docile. All right, so this is Esther chapter 3. I'm gonna start at verse 6, and I'm gonna just run right through it. Let's see, 6. Yeah, I'm gonna start at 5. Yeah, so it says, and when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, show him respect, then was Haman full of wrath. All right, so when you have these other nations in power, they want the Israelites to bow the knee, right? They want them to give them respect. And this has happened time and time again throughout history. There's a book called Without Sanctuary. You can literally you couldn't do nothing. You couldn't even, if you looked a certain way, or if you didn't say something, but then if you did say something, like, you couldn't even really pass these Edomites by without showing them respect, or maybe you showed them, that you didn't respect them, and they'll kill you, right? So when they proud, what I'm saying, they tend to be filled with rage if you don't do what they want you to do, right? It says, and he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai. So yeah, you had some of the Jews in the lands of during the time of the Persian captivity, right? So they was still in that land, and he was trying to get them to be killed, right? It says in the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pur, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. All right. It says, and Haman said unto the king, there is a certain people, here goes the the conspiracy, right? It says, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people and in all the provinces of your kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people, right? They're separate, they're different. They're different from those people who have us in captivity. It says, neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them, right? So he's mad, and now he's telling, the king that they don't keep your laws, they keep, their laws, in which, we're a holy people. So of course, if it doesn't mesh with our laws, then there's going to be a friction, right? It says, if it please the king, let it be written, right? Let it be written so they know who you are, okay? They know your laws. They know you have a certain set of laws. This is why, they defile your mind and pollute your mind of the children, of the Israelites today, through the music, through the media, through the food. They defile the holy people by, making them go against these laws, okay? It says, if it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. So he wanted the king to write out a decree to destroy those Jews that was in the land surrounding. It says, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business to bring it into the king's treasuries. All right. So this man, he went as far as to say, I'll pay you, right? I'll put money, so he put a bounty on the Jews. That's wicked, right? He tried to bribe the king, and that's against our law. You're not supposed to take bribery, especially for something as wicked as this, right? So, of course, the king obliged. And then, so this is going on today. And, I'm trying to parallel just to show you that even today, the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars is being used to constantly keep your mind programmed in filth, right? Into the ways of this world, to follow the fashion of this world, away from your creator, to keep you disconnected from your true culture. They give you the culture, they give you the projects. You know what I'm saying? You are an experiment, okay? They constantly put money, just like, into these government programs in order to keep you, what's the word? To keep you tied to the government and dependent. That's the word, dependent on the government for the resources, as long as you do what they tell you to do. All right. So that's all the welfare and the government assistance, all those things, keeping you in an environment that is basically destroying you, keeping you in low income areas and the worst education, the worst foods, the worst, giving you the worst of the worst, right? Just to keep you in a lower state, in a low vibration. All right. So let's see. Yeah. This is what I want to get. All right. It says, And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also to do with them as it seemeth good to thee. Right? Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according unto all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants, and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province, according to the writing thereof, and to every people of their language, in the name of King Ahasuerus was it written and sealed with the king's ring. Okay, so he wrote the letters. These letters was written all over, you know what I'm saying, to destroy and to kill and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Dar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. So this man, he was able to get the king to agree to write a decree, against the Jews, to exterminate them, to do genocide, to do so-called ethnic cleansing. Okay, so all because he's mad because he's not getting respect. Basically, this is just a personal vendetta, really, against Mordecai. All right, so let's move on. As you can see, they know who you are. Okay, they know how we move. They know everything about it. They know your DNA, right? They learn these things in order to keep us, at a bay. They don't want you waking up. They want you to stay asleep. They want you to still be, a nigga, So this is Daniel 6. This is another account of conspiracy, okay? Daniel 6, starting at verse 3. It says, then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm, right? Because Daniel had the spirit of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. The Lord was dealing with him, so he was exalted, right? It says, then the presidents and the princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom. So here go these devils again, right? They coming around to slander and to accuse. They're finding any type of way that they can accuse Daniel, even though, he's already, it's because they're jealous, for one, right? They're jealous because he was set in a high position alongside with them. It says, but they could not find none occasion nor fault, right? Because, he was holy, he's blameless. It says, for as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. And that's the elect, He represents the elect. You can't find any error or fault or guile, right, within the elect. All right, it says, then said these men. So this the only way that they can find error, right, in you is if you go against your law. You know what I'm saying? The law that the Most High gave us. All right. And basically they try to get you to sell out, or they try to pass the laws and policies that go against, your power. And if you don't bow down, then they try to have rights, or they're given the right to basically take you out. So it's like, if you don't get down, you gotta lay down, like that type of thing. That's their strength. It says, then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. All right. It says, then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king, and said thus unto him, King Darius, live forever. So, they pretty much brown nosing. I'll say that, before they trying to butter him up, before they let the king know, look, this is what we should do. We want you to stay on top. I said, all the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, meaning except you, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. All right, so of course the king is like, he's feeling, he's getting praises and glory. He's like, okay, they want to basically make a decree, right, to who's like basically whosoever pray to any other god or another man, or give praises to another man or god other than him, then they should be basically put into the lion's den and be eaten up alive, which is wicked. Like they, it says, now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which altereth not. Right? So they wanted him to change, make it an official law, just like the Medes and the Persians did, right? That cannot be revoked. And this is during that time. All right, so this is no different from today. You got policies, and soon enough, during the abomination of desolation is coming, to where they're going to have to ban the scriptures, ban the words of life, and whosoever in today's time, it's going to be a time where if we, don't bow the knee, if we, basically, if we speak on the words from the Bible, basically it's going to make you a prey. There is going to be some laws and policies that are going to be passed. And in other countries right now, there are certain policies and rules and regulations against people who have a Bible or people who speak from the Bible, okay? And basically, this is going into the same thing, okay? It's just, in modern times, there's going to be a persecution against the men of the Lord who consistently preach from the scriptures and stand for righteousness. All right, so it says, wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree, and that's coming back on the earth, the whole earth, soon enough. All right, so let's go over to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, because this is their this is how they conspire. This is their thoughts that are in their mind. I'm going to go inside the mind of vain imaginations in which they conspire against the children of Israel. These are their thoughts. These are their devices. All right, this is starting at Wisdom of Solomon 2, verse 10. It says, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the gray hairs of the aged. All right, so the way they oppress our people, they don't care if, they're old, elderly. They will oppress, a cop will beat an elderly man or elderly woman. This is, we're being oppressed. We're in captivity still. It says, let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. All right, so this is the mind of the ungodly, right? Their strength is the law of justice, like all the accounts that I've read, within Ezra, that account and that record. Daniel, Mordecai, and Haman, right? Haman, he did try to pass those decrees, and so did the princes, right, of the Persians, the Medes and the Persians, okay, during the time of Daniel, okay? So they pass unrighteous decrees. This is their strength, to pass those unrighteous decrees and make it in a order to follow and bend the knee, or basically capital punishment, okay? And that's wicked. It says, therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objected to our infamy, the transgressings of our education. Right? So our ways, our customs are actually against their ways, the wicked, the heathens' ways. Right? We're not for their turn, meaning like we're not for their interest, their best interests. Right? Our ways are adverse, or I should say their ways are adverse to the ways of righteousness. All right. And we constantly in our ways to reprove them, is against their ways, like such as the alphabet laws, right? You got the freakism laws that are set to basically pollute the minds of the children, right? Now, even in education, right? You got them, the transmissions all in your primary schools, teaching the children and all these types of perverted things. Okay. Even with the books, the children's books, they doing all these types of things, and they lie in wait, meaning, they conspire against, the righteous, and think of ways, to vain and, have these vain imaginations in order to keep us in corruption and, derision and destitute. Our minds, they want our minds to constantly be destroyed. Okay, it says, he professes to have the knowledge of God, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord. Right? That's what we do. As followers, as disciples of Yahawashi, right? It says, he was made to reprove our thoughts. He is grievous unto us even to behold, for his life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion, right? Our fashion is a holy fashion, a holy conversation, right? Which is our manner of life. That's our fashion, is contrary to the ways of this world, which is, like I said, it's friction against these heathens, against the wicked. Okay. It says, we are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that God is his father. All right. He says, let us see if his words be true. Let us prove what shall happen in the end of him. And see, this is them. They're trying to, basically, this is their vain imagination. They're trying to see if they're trying to prove a point to put it to the test. And this is why they kill the prophets and they slaughter us, because, it's in their power to do it. It's in their hands to do it. But at the end of the day, the Most High, like I said, in Psalms 2, I believe verse 5, 4, 5, 6, something like that, the Lord is going to have the last laugh, because they have these, good for nothing thoughts. It says, for if he be a just man, for if the just man be the son of God, he will help him and deliver him from the hand of his enemies. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. Right. So this is, another wicked thought and device in their mind. This is how they be making all of these torture devices, and this is, let us examine him, like, let us really truly and see what he's made of. Basically, let's see if he got that integrity, as he feigned himself to have, which is this is the way that they try us, on all levels. And they do this for fun, right? In the 19th century, they used to really, really do some wicked acts, when trying to use the laws of justice to justify, their laws of justice to justify their way of mob rule, to take, the Israelites from the police station who they accused of doing, these crimes, and they would take them and they would do justice on them themselves, and they would do it in a very sadistic way, a wicked way, which is, just shows and prove that these people are the devil. All right, it says, let us condemn him with a shameful death, for by his own saying he shall be respected. All right, did they not do this during the time, during the 1800s and 1900s? All of those hundreds of years, they would do all types of shameful deaths, have us hanging in trees, over 3 days, burning, castrating, mutilating, just straight torture, all types of, nightmarish ideas that they had in order to, slay, the righteous, slay people who they felt justified out of spite and for fun. All right. It says, such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness hath blinded them. All right. So they know you. Okay. They know who you are. They have records. These people have records. These people have accounts. Don't think for 1 second, just because you think you have this higher education, maybe you were in African American studies and, you got people that learn the curriculum of this world, the wisdom, of this world to get those degrees. Don't think for 1 second that those make you an intelligent and wise person, when, especially if you don't even know who you are, where you come from, what was your culture before, your heritage. Once you learn all of that and know who you are and where you come from, then you can know your power, and they don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Once you learn who your power is and how to get connected back in, then, then you have more faith and you're more dependent and more dependent on Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI instead of this wicked world, and their so-called benefits of this, captivity. All right, so I want to go to one more account, just to show that they know you, they know who you are. This is nothing new under the sun. All right, so this was Judith 5. This is during the time of, I believe, the Babylonian captivity. You got these captains before they go into one of the cities of Israel. They're doing like a briefing. Okay, this is a briefing before they, try to basically lay out the strategic plans in order to take the children of Israel down. Right. So here you have different nations, under the Babylonian captivity, conspiring, and they're confederate. They're conspiring against the children of Israel. So let's try to run through this real quick. I'm going to try to skip through some verses. All right, so it says, then was it declared to Holofernes, the chief captain of the army of Ashur, that the children of Israel had prepared for war and had shut up the passages of the hill country and had fortified all the tops of the high hills and laid impediments in the campaign countries. So wherewith he was very angry and called all the princes of Moab and the captains of Ammon and all the governors of the sea coast. See, here's the confederacy. Here's them trying to come together and think of a plan. And he said unto them, tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is. Like, who do these people think they are? Who these people are? He's trying to get some intel, all right? That dwelleth in the hill country, and what are the cities that they inhabit, and what is the multitude of their army, and wherein is their power and strength, and what king is set over them, or captain of their army, and why have they determined not to come and meet me more than all the inhabitants of the west? All right, so he's trying to find out the who, the what, the when, the where, the why. He's trying to find out as much intel as he can gather in order so he can take down, the children of Israel. Because I guess he didn't have the the intelligence. So this is their debriefing. All right. It says, then said Achior, the captain of all the sons of Ammon, let my Lord hear a word. Now hear a word from the mouth of your servant, and I will declare unto you the truth. The truth. So he's about to give you the truth. Here we go. Concerning this people which dwelleth near thee and inhabits the hill countries, and there shall no lie come out of the mouth of your servant. All right. So you got Ammon, the children of Lot. He's about to give his account. So he has accounts. They have records, and today they still have records on the children of Israel to this day. All right. It says this people are descendant of the Chaldeans. Right. It says, and they sojourned herefore too in Mesopotamia. That was like during the time of Abraham, because he basically starting from the lineage of Abraham. This is because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea, right? So Abraham, he was called, to basically disregard the gods of his father's terror. They used to worship Marduk and I forgot the names, but it was a pantheon. They got moon gods, all the gods that were basically taken from looking at the sun, moon, and stars, right? It says, for they left the way of their ancestors and worshiped the God of heaven, the God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned and to go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt and were increased in gold and silver and with very much cattle. Right? It says, but when a famine, and now keep in mind, this is the child of Ammon. All right? Remember, Ammon comes from Lot. Now, Lot is, he comes from this same, during the same time. So, of course, he's got records of his father, his fathers. So, Lot was with Abraham during that time, okay? This is where they dwelt and were increased in gold and silver, with gold and silver and very much cattle. But when a famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down into Egypt and sojourned there while they were nourished and became there a great multitude, so that no one could number their nation. All right, so that's during the time of, the 12 tribes of Israel. They went to Egypt. Joseph, he was in power and rule, and time went on. They multiplied. It says, therefore the king of Egypt rose up against them and dealt subtly with them and brought them low with the laboring in brick and made them slaves. All right. So they know that we were the ones that was slaves in Egypt. Today, the Israelites today, they know that we were the ones that were in Egypt, building up their kingdom. All right, it says, then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues. So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. All right, so on and so forth. He's given the history of the Israelites just to show you that he knows they have records of you. They know who you are. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm going to scroll on down to verse, let's see. Yeah, let's just continue at 15. It says, so they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by their strength all them of Esbon, which is, I believe that's Heshbon. And passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country. Right? He was talking about when they came into the land of the promised land, right? And they cast forth before them the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Jebusite, and the Sychemite, and all the Girgasites, and they dwelt in that country many days. And whilst they had sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them. Right? So they know that if we do not sin, before our God, we prosper. Every time that we are dealing in righteousness, we prosper. Okay? It says, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. So, but now they are returned to their God and are come up from the places where they were scattered and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Okay, it says, so now they know that once we are in agreement, you know what I'm saying, with our God, our power, then we won't really be touched like that. This is a part of the covenant, the agreement. As long as we follow his ways, then you know nobody can basically mess with us, and we untouchable. It says, now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider this shall be their ruin, and let us go up and we shall overcome them. Okay, so this is if this is written, right, then you got to know that this has been passed down through generations and generations and centuries, right, to understand the children, because this is real people, this is real life. Don't just look at this as just a fairy tale book, right? The elites, the people that's ruling right now, the rulers of this world, they have to know all these things, right? Because our God is sovereign. So, you know, they know that our God, our power, right, can raise us up. You know what I'm saying? As long as we do the right thing, as long as we get back into, you know, serve our power with all our might and with all our soul. You know, once we are back aligned with our power, you know, there's gonna be plagues sent, you know what I'm saying, to this world for the, you know, for the Israelites, you know, for the oppression, you know, of our people. You know what I'm saying? It says, now there, verse 21 says, but if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them and their God be for them, and we become a reproach for all the world. Right? So these records are known to the rulers of this world, and they understand. This is why they spend so much money to keep us in sin. You know, they capitalize us off of us being in sin. You know, they capitalize off of devouring our people, keeping them in a constant cycle of sin. You know, started with giving us false doctrines that make us go off against the true doctrine. You know, setting up educators, setting up politicians and civil rights activists to keep us in line and check, setting up councils of you know, like basically the so-called Black Council, which is, council means boule in Greek. So you got the Black boule set up to keep us in check. You know, you got gatekeepers, all these types of things and devices in order to keep us in iniquity, right? To our, when it comes to our diet, when it comes to you know, what we wear, to our clothing, you know, everything that goes against the law, they put it upon us because they know that, you know, iniquity makes us separate from our power, right? But once we realize and we, you know, all of our people are awakened and understand who they are, where they come from, and the power they need to serve, that they need to repent and change their ways and come back to their power, then, you know, they're in trouble. And these elite, they see that, and, you know, they're trying to stop that even today. You know, nothing has changed. You know, they know who you are. They got records of you. You know, they know your what you like. You know, they use the algorithms to set up different places for you to attend and go to, different establishments to spend money, and basically to turn you out the way. All right, so that's pretty much it right there. Lord willing, this was edifying. The whole point of the matter is, you know, that these people, the elite, these heathens, these other nations, they conspire against the true Israelites. They know you. You know, they have records, you know, written records. Don't think for 1 second that you've seen that they've telling us all that they can in history class, you know, all the truth, right? This man from the Ammonites, this guy, he told the truth, okay? So they know the truth, but they choose to tell you lies. All right, so and they know who you are. So I want to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahawashi. Shalom.